Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I'm reviewing a pen by Laban and this is the Flame. This comes from the 325 series, also sometimes known as the Cambridge series, and as you can see this is a broad nib. It's an acrylic resin fountain pen. So this is the plain cardboard sleeve that goes over the top of this box, which I think is really nice. I'll turn around so you can see. So it says Laban, refill your soul by writing, and it has this nice sort of fountain pen nib inspired pattern, which I think is actually very, very cool. So this box is nice sort of sturdy cardboard box, and it's sort of like a drawer that opens up to reveal the pen. And here it is. It's a beautiful pen sitting here under a nice orange ribbon. The blue and the orange is a really lovely combination. Take that out just for a second, and then underneath you get a little bookmark, some silica gel to keep everything dry, the typical sort of like the instruction book and all that sort of stuff, and then a couple of stickers, which is a nice little added bonus. Now this is a lovely pen. I have reviewed a 325 before. I reviewed here the Sun model, which I thought I'd show you together. Show the same sort of model pen. There was also an ocean, which was blue, a forest, which was green in these barrel sections, and then a couple of other pens in the same model, just with completely different sort of resin designs. So as you can see, the two main types of resin, and then gold furniture. You've got this sort of faux ivory resin for the cap and the end cap there, as well as the section. And then gold trim, and then this red acrylic here, which I think is rather beautiful. So I'm just going to run over the features of the pen. I'll talk a little bit about it. I'll do a writing sample, and then pros and cons and stuff like that. So on the top of the pen you get the Laban logo there, which is nice with the sort of the laurel leaves around the gold medallion. It's a rounded top, two gold bands, one then the gold clip. You then get a center band which says Laban, and then a nice little sort of graded step down to the barrel there, two gold rings on the barrel with the fake ivory material between, and then the colored section of the barrel, another gold ring, and then the ivory again with a little conical end there. The pen unscrews, and the threads are okay. They're not as smooth as on the Sun model that I reviewed, but they're okay. Then this section is nicely sort of gently tapered, and then a little flare on the end there. And what we have is a steel Yovo nib, and this is a broad, and it is engraved 3952 Laban, Germany, and then with the B for broad. And it's nice, and this is a lovely nib as well, and then the standard plastic feed. This is a Cartridge Converter pen, and you can unscrew there to reveal the converter, which is different to the converter that came on the Sun model, and it is branded with Laban there. And there's you got the brass metal threads on the inside of the barrel, which adds a nice sort of weight to the barrel, and then the threads there as well, and they're smooth and they're secure. This cannot be eyedroppered because of all the metal components and all of that, but it does work quite nicely. There's no huge step down because the concern to have like a smooth transition from cap to barrel isn't an issue with this pen. There is no massive step down. There's a slight sort of ridge there on that gold band, and then the threads are smooth. You certainly don't feel them uncomfortably under your fingers, but it's also a big enough section that you don't need to. Now this pen does fit nicely in the hand. It's nicely balanced and weighted, feels good, and the section is nice sort of width, and it's very comfortable. And being a number 6 size nib, you've got plenty of sort of space there when you're holding it between your hand and the page. So really, I've covered a lot about this model in my other review, so we're going to do a writing sample, and then I'll talk about some pros and cons, and that's really about it. But let's talk size now. So the pen is, well, actually let's have a look at it here alongside the Lamy Safari to give a good gauge as to the size of the pen. So it is a slightly larger pen. The Safari is not a small pen, and you can see there that this is sort of 0.5 centimeter roughly sort of longer than the Safari. It is 149 millimeters when it is capped. It is 130 millimeters when it is uncapped, which makes for a decent sort of size, and it is 173 when posted. And yes, it does post, but it does become a little bit back heavy, and also it's quite long, but it's also not the most secure posting on the market either. The pen weighs 36 grams, as opposed to 33 for the Sun, so it is slightly heavier, and 22 of which is in the body of the pen and 14 in the cap. So a good sized pen, nice sort of size and weight and all of that sort of stuff. But let's see how this guy writes. So what we have is the Laban Flame. This is from the, as I said, from the 325 model, sometimes in other finishes called the Cambridge. Those are sort of more different materials are used and color schemes and things like that, but they're all the same sort of model there. The nib is a broad steel nib, and the ink I'm using here is Aurora Black. Really, really solid black ink. So you can hear this pen is super smooth. Really no concerns whatsoever in terms of the smoothness of this pen. There's very little feedback. Broad nibs tend to have a tendency to be a little bit smoother with the, so that extra tipping on the nib there. And Nova nibs are good, to start with. This one is quite wet. And I know Aurora Black is sort of a wet ink, but this does lay down a beautiful line. Reverse writing is actually very smooth. You're not going to get, I think it would probably dry up fairly quickly, but, for what you need to do. And also that does provide you with, quite a difference in line width, because this pen does not give you flex. It is a stiff nib. You lay down a little bit more ink by pressing down a little bit, but it's not necessarily opening up, for sort of a flex option. Now, what I wanted to do is just do a very quick writing sample here with the Sun, because this has a same Yovo nib, but this one is a medium, just so you get an idea as to the variation between the two. So, and in fact, the broad is actually much smoother. But in saying that, this medium is just wonderful. So you can get, I think, the Flame model here with the different nib options as well. And you can see there that the difference between the two, the medium and the broad. So this is the medium, this one was the broad, is quite noticeable. So really, this is quite a lovely pen, and a pen that I think actually is a nice addition to this series. You can see that the resin is a different sort of type of resin. This is sort of more that cracked marble, but this is more sort of like swirly resin, hence the Flame, sort of name of it. So let's talk pros and cons. Pros, of course, one of the absolute big pros of this pen is the size and the feel in the hand and just how it writes. That for me is the main concern with any pen, is how it feels when I'm writing with it, both the experience on the page and the feeling in the hand. And this one is awesome. Now also the price point for these pens is really good. Depending on where you go, you're looking $100 to $150, sort of price range. And I think that's actually a really, really good buy, because you're getting a very well-made pen, a pen with a good nib, yes, a steel nib, but a very good steel nib, with different options and nice materials, and they're not around forever. So like once I know that the Sun model, for instance, is getting really hard to find in retailers now. So it seems to be like they make these like editions, and once they're gone, they're gone. So, this is a beautiful material, and that red is gorgeous. So it's a very, very nice option. It's a great pen when it's unposted, but one of the little cons with this pen is when it is posted, which doesn't post overly securely, it does feel a little bit off balance, and you know, that's quite a long pen in the hand as well. But really, there's not a lot to complain about with a pen like this. It's beautifully made. It's lovely material. Like that fake ivory material is just beautiful. And you know, I think with the gold trim, it actually is, you know, better with gold than it would be with silver trim. And so I think it's actually a really lovely pen model. It's a good price, and as I said, beautifully made and writes extremely well. So there's not really a lot to complain about, you know. So if you're interested in this pen, check it out and grab one while you can. I hope you found this video interesting and useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications button if you want to stay up to date with the videos that I produce. Please feel free to get in touch using any of the platforms listed below. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at @the_offstage_me, or you can contact me on any of my videos here, or drop me an email, which is listed down below. If you've got products you think I should be looking at, get in touch, or if there's a way you'd like to support the channel by sponsoring a review or providing an item for review, get in touch and let's see what we can do. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you later.